Good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Hope everybody's Monday is off to a great day. Another beautiful day in central New York. I guess unless you are someone who relies on rain for your job, it's been a beautiful spring, beautiful summer. Trying to stall here while I wait for Facebook to catch up. And it seems to be taking its sweet ass time. So let's see what's going on. There we go. Only a 40-second delay today. All right, and chat feature is working. That's what we do that for every day. So on my side, I use a totally different screen so that it syncs up smoother. And pretty much what that does is that allows me to see a chat box on the side window. And that's why I'm always kind of screwing around between the two. So Friday, we spoke of kindness. I was thinking about that more this weekend in how we play the game of pay it forward and just, being nice to one another and like the simple little things that we never even think of. And I think that is something that is oftentimes just taken for granted. And I think that a lot of this stuff is. And one of the things that I had heard this weekend was, they were talking about, someone was talking about motivation, and they were talking about, they don't care how much they improve every day, but they want to leave the day. Good morning, Matt. It was kind of me. Yeah, see, it was kind of me to keep climbing under 2,000 feet yesterday. They want to leave the day any level further ahead than they did when they woke up. So the interviewer said, okay, well, I want you to break that down. He said, well, from a business perspective, if I can gain one more client, if I can help one more client, that's a win. If I can, repair one more relationship with another business, so that I don't lose those future sales, that's a win. From a personal perspective, if I have the ability to teach my kids something, that's a win. If I have the ability to get a few more things done around the house, that's a win. Because again, we're always very caught up in measuring like these huge victories, and we want to see, because that's what's quote unquote sexy. We want to see these big changes. We want to see, if it's weight loss, I want to see 50 pounds. I don't care about losing 1 pound. I can do that in a day. Okay, we'll do that for 50 days. Now you've lost 50 pounds. That would take commitment. That would take time. That would take, more energy, more dedication to be able to do that. But those are the little changes that are most important. It's not, okay, I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna try to lose a bunch of weight, or I'm gonna start running so that I can run a marathon. It's developing that mindset and doing something consistently. And I have one client in particular that, our goal was, I want you to just walk. I want you to move for 30 minutes a day. And there's days where I see, a post as far as like, oh, I didn't work out today because of blah, 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 blah. And to me, that's, you're coming up, you have 24 hours in a day. We all have the same 24 hours. We all have jobs. Some of us just don't currently have to go to them. We all have family. We all have stress. We all have shit in our lives that we have to deal with day in and day out. So to say, I didn't have time, or I didn't have time, or I was too sore to, or I was, blah, blah, blah. That's all it is. It's just blah, blah, blah. Those are all just excuses saying, I didn't feel like doing. Because at the end of the day, if you really, truly wanted it, if you wanted it more than anything else in the world, if your, again, I always take this back to work, if your job depended on it, good morning, mother, you would have gotten it done. Because your boss you would have went in the next day and said, you know, sir, I know you wanted me to work, or ma'am, I know you wanted me to work on that project for 30 minutes last night, but I just got home, I was tired, and you know, my back hurt, and they'd be like, cool, you're fired. Guess what? Now you got time to make sure you get that 30 minutes in. So, you know, again, every day you should be, at the end of the day, you should go to bed, you should put your head on your pillow, and I moved myself forward today. I made some level of improvement. Whether you might have failed 10 times on something that you're working on, but in all of those failures, you found like, okay, well, I screwed this part up. Okay, so I fixed that part, but now this part's not working. And you're moving down that line. So even though you failed, your product or your vision is getting better, right? So it's not, I failed 10 times, now I'm going to bed. It's I failed 10 times, but now I know 10 times more than I did, because I've made those mistakes so I can adjust for those mistakes going forward. So whenever I hear someone tell me, you know, I don't have time for a 30-minute walk, I find that is, unless you are literally working for 24 straight hours and you're stuck in a hospital or somewhere, even if you have, like I have a coffee meeting with a friend later, we're going for a walk. Steve Jobs used to do every single meeting while walking. He'd go for a walk, whether it was a phone call, whether it was, you know, if someone was like, hey, Steve, we gotta meet about this quarter's numbers. He's like, okay, let's go for a walk. Instead of sitting in his office chair talking to whoever the person is. Because when you're moving, your brain can function, your heart functions, you get muscle activation, you get different thoughts will come into your mind instead of sitting in that stale, dry environment. So, you know, every day we're aiming to move forward in some measurable direction. So think about it before you go to bed tonight. How, like, what positive, like, if I look back, if you were to sit down at the end of the day and talk to me, if I was like, okay, so tell me one positive thing that you did, what level of positive growth did you have today? You'd be like, well, you know, I did. And it's like, sit down and really pull it apart and look at your day and say, oh, well, you know what? I actually, got that new contract, or, I was able to get the laundry folded and that's been sitting out for 2 days. Or, I was able to help my wife and get the dishes put away so that it was one less thing we had to do tomorrow morning. Those are victories. They're not sexy. No one gives a shit on Instagram about them. No one really cares about what you do on Instagram anyway. They like it because they're scrolling through and they're like, cool, next one, cool, next one, cool, next one. Matt says, budget your time like you would budget your money. Write it all down and you will find time, guaranteed. Exactly. I have a calendar that I will put my workouts in my calendar so that it's scheduled me time. And when you do that, you're going to be much more efficient with your time, because you have an appointment with yourself. A friend of mine works 100 hours a week. He owns a business, and him and I were talking about, he was going to do some personal training. And I said, in order for you to make it work, you're going to have to make it a standing appointment in your calendar. And, you have to be financially vested into it in order, because if you're putting it in there and it's meaningless and you're like, yeah, I know I can skip that. All right. Well, I mean, you're cheating yourself. So again, I take it back to work. if it was work, how would you do it? Would you cut those corners on work? And if you wouldn't on work, why are you willing to do that to yourself? Because you can live without your job, but can you live without your health? That's a tricky little question. Or will you just be like 68% of the rest of the world, Americans, and rely on someone else to clean up your mess? Because that's pretty much what people like to do, is they want to rely on someone else to clean up their mess. You eat like garbage for the first 20 years of your life, 60 years of your life, whatever it is, and then you just utilize that health insurance that you pay for to get medication to make yourself quote unquote better. No, you have to be willing to put the time in, put the work in, know as to why you absolutely can't put in 30 minutes of movement a day. I'm not saying you've got to run for 30 minutes. I'm saying that you can do 30 minutes of movement, structured movement. So like committing yourself to saying, I'm going for a walk, not I'm a landscaper, I'm mowing lawns all day. Well, that's your job. You get a ton of movement naturally, but now take that time, because again, when you're doing that, you're in work mode. I want you to separate and get into, your own mind a little bit, because that's where you're going to grow. That's where you're going to develop. So think about that. And if you have any questions, please show me that you don't have 30 minutes, and I guarantee you, I will find 30 minutes in your schedule. And I guarantee you, you may not like where it comes from. I'm up every day between 4 and 4:30 in the morning. Why? Because I want to ensure that I get everything that I want to do done. Now, I'm not saying you have to get up at 4:30 and go to bed at 10:30 or 11, but you have to be willing to make some level of sacrifice. I would love it if I could sleep till 6:30 or 7 o'clock every day. But then I've wasted 2 hours. So it's 2 hours less work I can get done. Make sense? All right. I'm going to leave you guys with that. So think about that. How are you moving forward on some level every day? Doesn't have to be big. Doesn't have to be sexy. It just has to be forward progress. Even if it's when you fail, even if it's your failures. Again, you might fail 10 times. But as long as you are failing, grow, failing, grow, failing, grow, eventually you're going to absolutely hammer out that perfect product that you're looking for. So I'll see you guys tomorrow. I hope you have a wonderful day. Again, continue to practice your social distancing. Wear your masks when you're out in public. It's not always about you. Sometimes it's about, making sure that we're doing our part to try to minimize the spread of this craziness. And I hope you guys have a wonderful, wonderful day. Think about 3 to 5 people. Take that 10 seconds that you already don't have and think about 3 to 5 people and just truly, honestly think about them having an awesome day. And you never know. You may save somebody. See you guys tomorrow.